Welcome to Hot Girl Stomps.
We pressed record on the thing.
Yes.
Just checking. Hello.
We've had a mare this morning. As some of you might notice, we're actually recording on visual for the first time, and it's been
interesting.
Mainly me, because I'm like, no, look at my face. No, the angle's not right. No, because I'm a drama queen. And then, we had to stop to find some car keys, and then we started again. So, we are in fact recording.
We are in fact recording. We are live.
Devil are you, Gemma?
Yes, I'm good. How are you?
I'm good. It's Saturday. I felt like this week was quite honestly the longest week I think I've ever had in my entire life.
Oh.
I don't know what. I think because I'm mid-audit, I do boring stuff at work, and I'm like mid-audit at work, and it's been split out into like 4 weeks of like 2 days per week doing an audit, and it was Monday, Tuesday this week, and it's been like Thursdays, Fridays in previous weeks. So I don't know whether I just started the week off like heavy, lots and lots to do, and then literally it dragged. So on Tuesday, I was convinced in my head it was Friday, like so convinced. That's how long the week had felt by Tuesday.
Your soul had travelled that many days in that space of time.
Yeah, and I went to work, some drinks after work with colleagues last night, and everybody was exactly the same. They were like, this week has just been so horrendous. So I'm really glad it's Saturday as of us recording this. I needed it, and I needed to come and see friends, come and see you, come and talk about some ghosts and some silly things, and just like relax a little bit
and breathe.
Yes. How's your week been?
Yeah, to be honest, not dissimilar.
Not dissimilar.
It's been a heavy one this week.
I mean, it was Blue Monday on Monday, so I don't know if you know much about Blue Monday. It's the like scientifically, like statistically driven most depressing day of the year, essentially. It's when people start to forget their like New Year's resolutions. People start to feel the financial pinch after Christmas, like loans and debts and stuff like that. It's a long financial month, and like the weather and all of that stuff. So statistically, the 19th of January this year was the Blue Monday. So maybe that had something to do with it. I think we need to do a cleanse. Maybe we should have saved that.
Where is my sage?
Yeah, we should have saved the sage and like saged again this week. But yeah, thank God it's over.
It's fine. We're going to throw all the positive vibes out there and feel better about this. I do apologise. I am typing a passcode into a phone to get up some of my researchy bits. But so talking about workplaces and workplaces that are miserable.
Oh God. Okay.
So I've been wanting to talk about this whenever we could fit it in, and just pubs. English pubs.
I love an English pub.
Who doesn't have a creepy story about an English pub?
That's true.
If you've ever worked in one or
every English
stayed in
pub,
one.
I feel every English pub in the entire country, or every pub in the UK, claims it's like the most haunted pub in the UK.
The oldest,
as well.
most haunted place in the UK.
They're always like, we're the most haunted pub in the whole world, or the oldest pub in the world. And it's like, I've been to 3 of you so far.
Do you know there's 3 of you in this category?
Yeah.
3 of you in the running. Yeah. Well, mine certainly didn't claim to be the oldest in the world or anything like that, but it did have some pretty and I'm just going to talk about an experience particularly of my own that was, I'm going to say it to you, and then if you think you can throw me an explanation, feel free to.
Interesting.
So the pub I worked in, I don't know exactly how old it was, but basically it was like, it was long, narrow and long.
Mm-hmm. This is in our market square.
Yeah.
In what my understanding of that like market square is, a lot of the buildings there were very old and all like interconnected, like with
I think it's one of the oldest,
caves, like basements and stuff. They're all quite old and linked up to all of the other pubs to each other and stuff. So there's like a bit of history behind them. I don't know how old they are, but it's quite old.
It's one of the oldest places in our town. I did try and do some digging in some files and stuff, but I didn't find anything too concrete, so I'm not going to use anything of that. But it was old, bare brick on all sides of the building, so it's very cold, which I don't know, like it added to the atmosphere or whatever. Maybe. But it I did a lot of mixture of day shifts and night shifts there, and in the day it would always feel fine. I would actually do a lot of day shifts on my own. I do like the early morning start, like the breakfast start and stuff, and we weren't actually ever that busy at the breakfast, so I was on my own there. Like opening up,
Yeah.
fine.
Closing
the pub,
different story.
Oh my god, I can't even cope. So I messaged around a few of the people that I used to work with there at the time, and loads of people said, yeah, it was like it was waiting for you to be on your own.
Oh.
Or whether you just didn't notice until you were on your own, I don't know. But like, it would be after like dinner rush and then it was dying down or whatever, suddenly a glass would like, you'd be cleaning the down and then a glass on the end of the bar would just like
slide off.
Oh. Yeah. One girl I used to work with, there was a downstairs which was like your main restaurant pub bit, and then a staircase upstairs to like a room that we used to use for private functions.
Yeah.
And that was the way you would exit the building, which I'll talk about a little bit more. But she used to say she could hear kids laughing upstairs in the upstairs room when she was on her own. It, like I say, it was like it waited, and then as soon as you were in the place alone, then the vibe would just switch,
change completely. Yeah.
And there was a few blokes that worked there as well, and even they would say
a little bit uncomfortable, and
you just suddenly feel a little bit more on edge. And you know, considering as well, it's in the market town centre, so you were never
and there's
without
the pub opposite, so like quite a popular pub which is still open now, directly opposite, and their pub garden like overlooks the frontage from memory. I'm talking about the Union. And then there's stuff I don't know what,
like takeaways, like
there's
some of the clubs down literally so there was always an element of background noise, so
you weren't isolated and on. It's not like you're working, you know, like viewers might know this, the Jerusalem, I think it's called, not the Jerusalem, the Jamaica Inn, in like Bodmin Moor, where the pub's there and then it's like moorland, that's it. You know, if you were alone there in the middle of the night and you're opening up in that pub, you're isolated, you're literally the only person within miles, whereas here there's probably people living in flats over to the other side above some of the other buildings. There's a main road that runs right past, there's like flats right next to it and stuff like that. So you're not, like, my thing with horror films is always, I think, you know, like The Ring and films like that, they always open, and like Scream, perfect example, main character lives kind of like sort of in the middle of nowhere, isolated. That's always been like my absolute worst nightmare, is to not have any neighbours, not have anybody that if something happened, spooky, you know, a real person that was a danger, threat, that I could like run to. I would hate to live completely isolated, and I think that psychologically would start to mess with my head a little bit. Whereas living like where I live now, you know, I've got next door neighbours, your house, you know, you've got neighbours all around you. Like, if anything was happening in this house, even from a paranormal point of view, you can just run straight outside and knock on next door's door. Like, you can't do that somewhere else. So it's not like you've got that psychologically in your head that you're alone, because you're not alone in that same regard. There's people, like you say, you can hear people outside walking past. Like, you're not going to be like, that's not a psychological factor in this. To me, I don't think in that regard.
But in terms of the noises then as well, again, that was sort of going to be my point. So the girl that was saying about kids' laughter, she said like there was always noise in and around, but your ears got trained to the
you can hear, if you hear it at
sound.
A certain level, you know that's the far enough away to tell you that it's the pub opposite. You know the distance in the sound.
Whereas the difference of knowing
that's upstairs,
and there's no one upstairs,
or that was in the room next to me, or that was right behind me. That's a very different thought, a very different vibe, definitely.
So going on to tell my particular experience then, and I've never had an experience like it or since, and I hope I don't, because it did really shake me up a little bit.
I don't know if I know this.
So I must have been 18, 19, potentially 20. Anyway, locking up alone at night. It was a midweek night even, so closing at like normal time, not late, not like a weekend close down, midweek night. but it was dark outside. And what you would have to do, you'd clean all the bar down, mop the floor behind the bar, obviously just tidy anything away, load the dishwasher, all that kind of stuff. And then to close down, you would go to the front doors, lock those, pull the shutters down, come back into the building, and it's turning off all the lights as you go.
That's where it gets you.
Awful.
Turn it off, run.
Yeah.
Turn it off, run.
So yeah, exactly. So we had like a little laptop out, which we'd play the ambient music on. So you'd have to, once I'd locked myself in, then I would go to the laptop, turn the music off. So obviously now bear in mind I've got absolutely no so then it would just be dead silence, and then you would turn the lights off for downstairs, which coincided in turning off the kit. They were on the same circuit, I'm assuming. Right. The downstairs light, if you turned the downstairs lights off, the lights in the kitchen went off as well.
Okay.
And I don't know if you've ever really been in working kitchens, but they always have that creepy UV light.
Glow,
glow. I don't even, what does that do? Is that for bugs?
Well, you can get the little fly zapper things, but I don't know. Maybe it's to do with like being able to see
or seeing contamination on
stuff. Yeah. Like
anyway,
blue light, black light.
The alien blue light. So then I've got to walk, leave the front, through the kitchen doors, through this creepy UV blue lighting in the kitchen.
Love that.
Love that.
Horror, like proper 80s horror film vibe. Yeah.
Literal slasher. Perfect conditions. Then you'd go into, I call it a basement. It wasn't really where all the kegs were kept. It was more like a step down, but it was lower than the general building. So you'd go in there, make sure that door, because there was a door to the outside where we'd get the deliveries and stuff. Yeah. And that was horrible because it was a very typical English small pub, not like a big industrial operation. This was a
enclosed,
cold stone floor, brick wall, not damp, but
it felt that. Yeah, I know exactly what you mean.
Always the heebie-jeebies. So you'd have to walk through that, make sure that back door was locked, turn your light off, and then you'd come out of there, and there was a narrow staircase that was behind the kitchen, which would lead you straight to behind the bar upstairs.
Don't think I ever went upstairs in that place.
No.
I think I went in there for a hot chocolate once and sat in the window, and that's probably the only time I'd ever been in that location. So I'm trying to like visualise from back in the day. But it was very long and very narrow.
Yeah, very long and narrow. And so if you can imagine this staircase, so now you've got like a very dim overhead light.
Yeah.
A staircase so narrow that there's no banister or anything either side. It's just the walls that you sort of have to
scramble up. That just conjures...
So then you do the run of death.
Yeah, that conjures that in my mind, that like light off, scrambling up, and then something like scrambling up after you, like holding onto the walls.
Because you've got the zoom of the blue UV light, and it's like you're waiting. So, I mean, yeah, every night.
A workout.
For my life. This is not worth £5 an hour. What am I doing here? Literally risking my life.
That was all your drinking money in your university days.
Literally.
As well, just to fund your student lifestyle. Is this worth it?
So the amount and like the carpet on these stairs were grim. The amount of like, so when we'd have
beer.
Yeah, exactly. So the upstairs didn't have its own dishwasher, so if there was parties, any empties or whatever, you'd have to bring it down these stairs with no banister.
Yeah.
So the amount of times we'd all
slide down,
obviously.
Yeah.
So yeah, literal. So you've gone up the stairs of death.
Stairs of death.
And then turn the lights off for upstairs.
Oh my God.
Darkness. Set the alarm. And then
run back downstairs.
No. So you exited through upstairs.
Oh, okay.
So because obviously your shutters would be down.
Oh, of course, yeah.
On the main stairs, and then you'd leg it because the room on top is quite lengthy. If you imagine the floor plan of downstairs.
Yeah.
The floor. So you'd have to run from behind the bar out to the balcony and then lock the balcony door from outside.
Jesus
so just to paint you a picture of what I was dealing with, so psychologically
I'm gonna, next time I
was probably
past,
already fraught.
Yeah, next time I drive past I think I'm gonna have to like slow down I might drive past on my way home tonight, or go the long way home, and like just like slow down. I want to see like how long it is and like what the back of the building looks like, just for my own scope. But yeah, I mean, maybe it's changed since, you know, it's been a little while since it's been that particular pub. But
yeah.
I think it's a restaurant now, isn't it?
Yes.
I wonder what story they've got.
I know. I did frequent it recently as well.
Oh,
but
okay.
I didn't want to make the birthday meal too weird, talking to the waitstaff.
Why not?
So
I would. Everywhere I go. So, have you got any ghost
staircase of
stories?
death. How's that for you? Any calls?
Anybody been pushed down the stairs carrying a curry lately? No, it's not a
Yeah.
curry house, is it? It's Italian, I think. Is it
Yeah.
Italian? Yeah.
Yeah, it's an Italian. So anyway, so just painting you the whole picture of the closing down process. I obviously always probably was a bit on edge. So anything that had happened before, I'd just kind of like, there was one time I'd made it to the top of the stairs, and as I was doing, I did try to be brave and not to run upstairs, but I'd just do fairly brisk.
Do you think the spirits like can sense your fear in like when you're running down those stairs, they're like, let's play? Whereas if you just like casually walk down there like, I'm not scared,
I'm not scared,
they're like, oh, she's boring, I'll leave her alone.
Yeah.
Like, I wonder if they do.
And maybe if it is kids
ghost,
upstairs, like you say, they're probably just
like having a little like,
wetting
oh, we're
themselves.
playing a game, are we? We're running up and down the stairs. Great.
Yeah. So I'd had a couple of instances before this, but I did always put it down to like, oh, you're just freaking yourself out. You don't like closing down on your own.
Yeah. The
It's
vibe's not
it's
great.
an old building.
Yeah.
Blah 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 blah. But a couple of times, again, like just glasses seeming to fall off where they shouldn't. But you always like, maybe I didn't dry the bar top as well as I thought I had. Maybe it's a bit wet. One time when I was upstairs, I'm sure I heard a bloke like, you know, that clearing his throat sort of thing.
Oh,
like,
yeah.
yeah. But again, sort of like, no, you're just
when these things
winding
happen,
yourself up.
you can, because there are potential logical explanations for these things, it's easy just to be like, blah blah blah, like pull the bury your head in the sand, like no it's fine, until something happens, which I'm sure is what you're about to tell me.
And what unnerved me most of all about this, so it's not so much about what happened in the building, it was what happened once I left the building.
Oh.
Which I don't know how you're going to feel about it. I don't know how I feel about it myself, because we're always, you know, like when we go on these ghost hunts and they always say,
nothing's going to follow
you home. And normally I'm there like, yeah, they're
absolutely right. Absolutely correct.
Nothing is going to follow you home. You'll be fine. This was the only time that I think
something
I don't even know how to describe it. Right. So this one time I'd done the staircase of death, and I was like doing my shuffle walk towards the door, and it genuinely felt like just in the back of my hip, like my back but my hip sort of area, something just like
jab, right,
just gave me a good But I did have in like the noughties, the 2010s, you know, the little low side bags were popular.
Yeah,
I did have one.
Okay.
It was the wrong side. But even in my head, I'm like, I think the way, like my speed run, maybe the bag had just
hit out,
swung at an awkward angle from behind me or whatever. So like,
so you're still trying to logically, bin it off, essentially,
to not freak myself out. I lock up and I have to go down some like dodgy fire escapey sort of metal stairs to get into my car. And my heart is like, cause like I say, I feel like literally something's just touched me on my way out, and I'm like freaking out.
Jesus Christ, yeah.
So I'm in the car, and you know when you're so scared, you kind of get that ringing in your ear.
Mm-hmm. The adrenaline, like that's your adrenaline like, picking up, yeah.
I'm driving home in my little, was I in the Ford KA at that time? I can't remember.
Gripping the steering wheel
or
the
my
entire
little
time.
Fiat Punto. And so like I said, I've got this ringing in my ears. And as I'm driving away, like, you know, I'm...
Please tell me that you don't see something in the back seat in your rearview mirror.
No, thank
God.
My body
I'd never get in a car
today.
again. I'd never get in a car again if you told me that happened.
No, my body wouldn't have survived. No, but so as I'm like de-escalating in the car, the ringing in my ears is getting worse and worse. And at this time, I actually lived in the flat with producer Lewis over in Elsham, so it was a decent drive.
His Christian name,
just
producer Lewis.
His full Christian name. So it's a decent drive.
Yeah.
So I'm like thinking, oh, calm down.
Mm-hmm. It's a good 15 minutes drive. That
The buzzing in my ears just starts getting, like, almost like a bee swarm. Like,
Exactly. In films when somebody like shoots a gun in like an enclosed space and they've not got ear protection on, they've got that ringing, or like they get flash banged in like a war film and it's like was it like that? Like
that, but like multi-leveled, not just one noise. It was sort of like say like a bee swarm, there was like different frequencies.
Wow, okay.
And this was getting worse, and I'm driving along and the sound changes again, almost to like,
oh no, get out. I nearly swore then.
Genuine. I was so convinced that I could feel people like whispering.
Oh no.
I couldn't tell what they were saying.
Yeah, but it was that
it was like I had earmuffs on and someone was in my ears, and I know this is real because I was so convinced that something was like playing.
Yeah.
I must have hit the radio on off 10 times.
Really?
Because I was like, I've got the radio on at like an extremely low level without realising.
Yeah. So you would constantly
I pressed it, it turned on. But I was like, no, like,
I need to keep testing this.
And as soon as it was like as I crossed the threshold into the next village, stopped.
That's so odd.
I've never had an auditory experience like that ever since.
And I can't say really, and I mean, viewers, if you've ever read a story like this or heard a story like this, I can't say really in my experience, like researching the paranormal and researching experiences and stuff like that I've really come across something ever like that. I think I've maybe, like my cousin, I'm sure she won't mind me saying this, my cousin on my mum's side, Emma, she used to come out and do ghost hunts with me all the time, and I think she's slightly sensitive. She's got like at one point she was going to start maybe trying to develop her mediumship skills, but she would say she would sometimes walk into her mum's old house and she would just hear talking, like she could just hear voices upstairs, like conversations and stuff like that. But that's the closest thing really, but that's more of a medium walked into a haunted location and can sort of pick up on the vibes coming in from the place rather than like hearing that ringing that turns into voices. I've never ever come across a story where that's happened. Maybe like a ringing noise potentially, but then that could just be your blood pressure goes up with your adrenaline and that's your blood pumping through. But for it to be going on for as long as it was going on for,
and that's what it was starting to freak, and that's why I was like with the radio, because I was like, what is going on? And you've done, me and you have both done paranormal stuff in the past. At this point we've probably done a few paranormal things by the point that this happened to you. It's not like this is the first time you've ever come across something, and not because it's an extreme experience to be poked in the back like that, but I've come across worse situations than that. I think you've potentially, like when we went to Guy's Cliff House, you had a situation. I know. We'll talk about that at a later time, but like I know that really freaked you out. Then I was driving home later and you were in the car, so that clearly didn't bother you that much. So why would this have bothered you that much? That was just an adrenaline response or a psychological response. There must be more to it than that, because it would be unusual for you to react so extremely to what I class as a lighter paranormal experience in that sense for you potentially, or things that you were aware of in the paranormal. I don't think you would react that sensitively and that extremely that for an entire 15 minute drive. I would argue in real life I've had scary experiences.
Like non-paranormal related. That would get your adrenaline going and you still not had a visceral response
but
like that.
I've never ever felt like it was underwater.
That's so strange.
So strange.
I wonder.
But I was in a confined, closed little car, moving.
In
so
your
it's not
car,
like,
you're safe as you're driving.
There's
going
no
back.
one around.
I'm assuming Lewis was home. You were going back.
He was already in the flat.
A home where you weren't going to be worrying about going home to an empty flat afterwards. And how odd.
And then it just cut.
That's so weird.
So I
don't have an explanation for that. What?
I'm glad.
Tick.
I know. And
How
the person who owned that pub reckoned it was not haunted.
A bit of a spooky spook.
No, that it wasn't.
She didn't, really?
No, she reckoned not. Which is interesting, isn't it?
I think so.
How different people's Because, like, going on to my next story from that place, my sister-in-law used to work there as well, and she's open, but not like how
not
we
the way
are.
that we're like interested
not the way that we
in
are.
it, yeah.
So without further ado, I will also read what she sent.
Okay.
If I pause in between just trying to go along with the message, I do apologise, but I'll go from here. I used to work in a bar in town. The place.
The place.
The place. A lot of people had told me it was haunted, but I didn't really believe in ghosts or other paranormal stuff back then. I think I was maybe 18, 19 at the time. However, the place had a weird feeling when you were opening or closing up and left there alone. It felt eerie. To open up in the morning, you would have to enter through the beer cellar at the back of the building. It was pitch black with the light switch on the other side of the room. I remember every time I had to do it, I would literally run from one side of the room to the other to get to the light for no rational reason whatsoever. Anyway, in terms of experiences of things happening, the worst one was when I went to change a barrel over during a day shift. It was pretty quiet, only me and one other person working. I went into the cellar to change the barrel. Now, the layout here wasn't great. You've got barrels piled on top of each other, and to hook them up, you had to climb over them after moving the ones you needed. I had climbed up and mid-changing when, out of nowhere, the helium tank on the other side of the room starts spurting loudly and quickly, like it had just been fully opened, not a slight little leak. There is literally no one else in the room, and I know from trying to use the helium tank before that it's ridiculously stiff and tight to turn the handle and use. At this point, I just got out of the room and get a feeling not to go anywhere near it, but I needed to because the helium is spurting out. So I went over and tried to turn off the helium tank closer to the lever, but I couldn't because it was too stiff. Now, I didn't particularly believe in ghosts at this point, but this couldn't have just happened by itself, and I'm starting now to get a little freaked out. I went to get my colleague and they helped close it up. The more I talked about it with others who worked there, the more stories I heard about bottles flying off shelves in there, doors slamming, and no one liking going in there by themselves. There was definitely something going on in there, and whatever was there didn't feel like it was trying to hide.
Wow. Interesting, because before she'd mentioned that the helium tank was stiff, obviously I was like, well, if she's moving barrels around, could she have maybe like knocked it by accident, and then she's moved it into position and climbed over on the other side, because it is narrow, so obviously potentially that could happen. But obviously if it took her then a lot of effort to reclose it again, if it was notorious for being quite stiff, I mean we had a lot of trouble setting these bloody cameras up today, and we had to get producer Lewis to turn things and stuff like that. Things don't just suddenly become on one occasion really easy to turn and then go back to being really, really stiff again.
No. Initially when I was reading through it, because obviously, like I was saying earlier, I know the room she's talking about, and I was like, temperature changes. Like I say, it was literally brick walls, like with moisture and all that kind of stuff. But
in the amount of time for it to go back to being really difficult to close again, would that temperature change really have been that drastic? Moisture. I understand what you're saying about, mechanisms and stuff. Like if it's warmer in there, it might loosen it. But not maybe in such a short period of time, potentially not. Yeah. Interesting. Okay. That vibe again at the start, about the closing up and the running through. Like even my dad didn't believe in ghosts. I think we've discussed this before. I didn't believe in ghosts apart from this and this time.
Apart from
this whole massive list of things I've got. The house that my uncle lives in now, sorry to my cousin who's listening because she lives in that house, I'm really sorry. But my dad didn't like closing or switching the light off in a particular room and then having to walk through to get up to the stairs. And he was like super unshakable at that point in his life, and I don't know whether it is a psychological thing with having to switch a light off and then go and like specifically stairs. It's always people like you see on TikTok, people's little stories about like what it feels like to turn the light off at the bottom of the stairs and then you run up the stairs. There's got to be a reason for that, whether it's just a psychological thing because it's dark. But why stairs? Because they always seem to involve like staircases in these instances.
Do you think it's because we're not put in many other situations where you've literally only got one route to travel?
That's a good point.
Like in a house, you can go left, you can go right, forwards, backwards.
That's a
on
good
a
point.
Stair,
you're kind of enclosed.
Your destination's there.
Yeah.
And that's like, so if it's just
if
threat
something
awareness,
was to happen,
maybe?
yeah, it could be, rats like getting themselves into a corner and stuff like that. Maybe, yeah, that's a good point. But it's still, I do find it still
Someone
quite
who knows
interesting.
more about psychology than me, obviously, please.
Hey, Dr. Kieran O'Keefe, do you want to come on and talk to us about this?
The paranormal significance of stairs.
Going upstairs.
The psychological importance of stairs. I'm sure there's probably an academic paper out there.
I'm going to find it now.
But yeah, no, I completely agree.
But yeah, interesting. Interesting how they corroborate.
I just do love an English pub, because I just like...
They're all
like
great.
You say, even old men that don't believe, like... old pubs.
Oh, I won't go down in that
pub
basement.
Basements. I won't go down there to change that barrel. Or the dog didn't like going down into the basement there.
Yeah.
Blah, 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 blah.
I do have a theory. The dog. I do have a theory about pub basements, and this is my little scientific kind of like logic thing here, because you do find a lot of stories around pubs is always the basement. It's always, the barmaid doesn't like going down into the basement to change the barrel. And I kind of got this from Taps. I don't know if you ever watched Ghost Hunters, the TV show. The Taps team that originally started with two guys who were plumbers, and they started ghost hunting, which is where that Taps bit came from. I mean,
that's the only logical progression of a plumber, I feel.
I mean, yeah, and they were still plumbers while they were doing ghost hunting.
I love that.
But they explained it on one of their very first episodes, or like an earlier on episode, and I've kind of always thought about it ever since, where when you go into a basement, especially in America, like houses in America, a lot of their like appliances are in the cellar.
Yeah.
So they use their cellars for their washing machines, or, you know, their fuse boxes and all of that stuff are down in the cellar.
Home Alone.
Exactly.
No.
Yes, 100%. So the amount of electromagnetic field that gets pumped out in a basement is massive. Pubs, all of your kegs and all of your wire system, your piping systems, the everything that's down there, pumping out EMF. So I don't know if you know much about EMF and what the psychological aspects behind what EMF does to a person, but if you have really, really high levels of EMF, it can cause nausea, hallucinations, headaches, dizziness, like blackouts, all sorts of things depending on how high the level of EMF is. So when people are saying they get a weird feeling, that weird feeling can be attributed to high levels of EMF. It just messes with your body, and that's completely a scientific explanation for it. Also, the hallucinations part, you know, people say they see shadows, or they see people, they see things or hear things down there. Again, is that attributed to high EMF levels in an enclosed space, a dark, damp space? The darkness also psychologically kind of starts to affect you down there as well. Of course,
yeah. Slight temperature change.
Exactly.
It's always a bit more cold underground, isn't
exactly,
it?
100%. And also the thing that I hate the most about pub basements is I cannot stand the smell of beer. Beer and yeast and all of that stuff makes me feel bleh. So that,
I wonder what that says about you and me.
I don't know.
I love the smell of
Are you a beer drinker? Do you like beer?
Not on a really hot summer's day. I will not say no to half a pint. But
what's your tipple?
Oh, like don't get me.
Foster's.
Yeah. Like a
Wasn't that the ad
Corona
campaign
with
for
a slice of
Foster's?
lime. That's me.
I do drink Desperados, but that's because I'm a tequila fiend.
Yes,
I like a tequila. So that's the only beer.
No, I'm not drinking
started...
like dark ale or anything like that.
No, okay, that's fine. We're very different. What's your normal drink of choice? Sorry, segueing here a little bit.
Or gin.
Oh yeah, okay, fair enough. Okay, so we're very similar in that regard. But yeah, I went to the Guinness factory in Dublin when I was a kid. I've never forgotten it.
Guinness
Horrendous.
in Ireland. What?
Oh no, I don't. I'll have a Guinness and black when I'm in Dublin. I will drink a Guinness and black. I don't really like Guinness, but the smell of the yeast at the actual factory.
Oh, you hated it?
Is horrific. I don't know if anyone's ever been.
I've been.
I was like 12, but disgusting. So that, if there's other people that are like me that aren't a big fan of that overpowering like stale beer, spilled beer
maybe that
smell,
just,
that can contribute
with
as
your
well.
senses and stuff.
Yeah, so that segue through our beer journey there.
We managed to.
That's kind of where my thought process is when I hear stories about basements. But obviously you've explained that this isn't necessarily really a proper cellar, in that it's just like a slightly... So it's not probably quite as enclosed and quite as dank and whatever in this instance. But yeah, when I hear stories about basements and cellars, I'm always a bit dubious myself. Like I would prefer... I've done a few investigations in a few pubs actually, and the first thing I always do is do a base sweep from an EMF point of view, and it's almost always quite high. I've been in one or two where it was quite low, but they're usually
quite high,
pretty up there. So I tend to just bin them off most of the time.
But I do love a pub investigation. I just feel like history-wise, pubs tend to be the buildings that don't get torn down and stay.
They've got a lot of energy that's passed through them.
Yeah.
I was watching a documentary the other day on Amazon. I did switch it off in the end, but it was like the most famous pubs in the UK or something like that. And the first one that was on the list was, I can't remember the name of the pub, but it was right opposite the Scotland Yard in London. And it used to be part of their prison cells, and they've still got the prison cells down in the basement and stuff like that. And I just love, especially like Victorian pubs and like that era, like in London and stuff like that, we've just got some cracking buildings, like some really great places.
Like you've already said, and I was that's what I was sort of going to say, like, and so oftentimes they would have been used for other stuff, like hiding out criminals.
The highwaymen.
All manner of people in and out.
Smugglers. I mean, the Jamaica Inn, I think in Bodmin, I think that was a smugglers pub as well. There's quite a few. Prisons, inns, people would stay overnight in them. There's a lot of history. I mean, the pub, the Jamaica Inn, I think they used to hang people there. It used to be a hanging place. So
really?
They used to hang them from like inside the building and stuff like that. It was also a place of execution. Our pubs are insane. This country's mad, I think. Like, the history that we've got here, insane.
Insane. What about you? Have you ever had
a spooky pub experience?
Well, aside from the obvious.
Not really. So I've done pubs before. So I've done like the Ye Old Jerusalem Inn, which is in Nottingham, which again, that's we're the most haunted pub, we're the oldest pub in the country sort of vibe. To be honest, actually, it was all right. So I struggle with pubs from a paranormal investigation point of view, because a lot of the time they won't close unless you pay them a lot of money, because they won't close before midnight, before their actual normal. So you get to go in after, but tend to be like you're going in and getting set up while the patrons are still there. And alcohol and ghost hunting famously don't mix. People are almost always disrespectful. We actually did the Union Inn, which is the pub that's opposite, the one that you're talking about. I've done it twice. Both times the patrons just made it so hell, because the pub then, bear in mind we paid to go in.
Because I've heard a lot of stories about that pub.
And we were so excited about it as well, but we'd paid to go in. We paid a little bit of money, like not a massive amount, but they still did a lock-in with their regulars, even though we paid to go in. So then and one of them went and put like Ghostbusters on the jukebox for a laugh, and we're like, look, we're just trying to like mind our business here and just like take some space readings and just like see what happens. Like, we were just doing it as a private investigation as a team. So you get a lot of people that are really disrespectful. I did one over in Bedworth as well, where again and there was loads of stuff that was supposed to be happening in that place, in the bar. Like the owner, the landlady, refused to stay in it. She rented the actual pub above out because she was like, I'm not staying here. But then she went on and got pissed and just completely ruined the night. So again, this alcohol and pubs thing just don't mix. But at the Ye Old Jerusalem, once everybody had left,
ghosts feel so comfortable haunting there,
because people
no one's paying mind anyway.
Nobody pays attention to them. Ye Old Jerusalem in Nottingham, when we did that, it's very small in there. It is tiny. It's actually built into the walls of the castle, like the actual, like where the castle's really like lifted up high. You've got all cave systems underneath the castle, and it's part of that, and the basement links up to all the tunnel systems in Nottingham. Nottingham's really famous for its like tunnel system, basically. And upstairs, and we were gutted. This happened more than once when I've done paranormal investigations, where just as you take the camera away, something happens, and I think they do it on purpose, because me and my old investigation team lead, Tom, we were sat, just the two of us, doing some calling out in a room upstairs, and we had the camera set up, like locked off camera set up, and Tom had his handheld camera, and nothing had happened the whole time we were in there. We got up, we walked out, and as we walked out, we heard the chair move behind us, spun around, and the chair that Tom had just pushed in, that he got on camera himself pushing the chair in, had moved out. So we were losing our mind. We were like, oh my God, the camera's right there, the camera's right there. Yeah. The camera, just too low. It was just out of shot.
The ghost probably just went,
Honest to God,
beforehand.
we were fuming, and that had happened before at Dudley Castle, where I had just taken. We used to use camcorders with tapes. We're going back.
Wow.
I know.
Oh, what's it called?
Like a full-on proper camcorder, like a tape system camcorder.
Blair Witch Project.
Yes, exactly.
Style, yeah.
And we used to do that, and poor like Luke, our old like video editor, used to have to like plumb it all into his like DVR system and like
God bless him.
It was a wild time to be alive. Kids these days
The
go
wild, wild
hunting
west
on
of ghost
YouTube.
hunting.
Honestly, these YouTubers these days don't know the struggle, I swear. And I'd just taken a tape out to replace it, and the freaking table moved, and there was like 6 people in the room that all witnessed it, and it literally like shunted across the floor, and I was like, are you actually kidding me? So yeah, this happens, and I think they do it on purpose. But then I'm just thinking of other pub stuff that we've had. I'm sure there's another one that I've done that was like a really like, we did the lime kilns over on the A5.
Yeah.
There was supposed to be, in the lime kilns basement, there is supposed to be a dark shadow figure of a man. I think Richard, the name Richard is jumping into my head. I did this 12 years ago. I might be wrong. But I'm sure that they nicknamed him something like Richard. And me and Becky, again, one of my old team members, went down into the cellar and sat down there for ages. And Becky was like the unshakable force. Nothing ever convinced her ever in her entire ghost hunting life ever, and she was convinced that she saw a shadow down there. But again, EMF, was that just that playing havoc? I don't know.
Yeah.
But there's plenty of pubs that I would love to do. I'd love to do the Jamaica Inn. I'd love to do the Skirrid Inn in Wales. I'd love to do some of the pubs like up in Edinburgh, some of the pubs in London. I went to the 10 Bells pub in Spitalfields, right opposite Spitalfields Market. Jack the Ripper picked up his final victim at that pub, and we went in there for drinks, but it was rammed. But supposedly when it's quieter in there, like stuff flies off shelves and all sorts, but it was so busy in there. I was like, there's no way if anyone's having a paranormal experience in here, they don't know they're having one, because it was so busy all the time. And it's one of those typical London pubs that's on like a street corner where it's like curved. Like they all seem to be on that like curved corner, don't they? They all look exactly the same from the outside, London pubs.
And like you say, sort of, sorry, just kind of like segueing a little bit, like just onto pubs again. I think we've obviously mentioned before about haunted venues that, to be honest, only really still exist to be investigated.
Yes.
Left dormant in the day.
Yeah.
And just constantly.
Does that have an issue on the vibe?
Do something to the energy, whereas pubs that are still operating. Constantly
stuff going on.
A nice mix of like.
People aren't in there to ghost hunt.
No.
They're in there to drink
and socialise.
Yeah.
Energising the place.
Yeah, yeah. The one really interesting place, and I think it might have been knocked down now, was I think it was Brannigan's in somewhere like Manchester. I'm sure it's Manchester. Mo's Haunted did an episode on it, and it is my favourite episode of all time, because it was a nightclub, but it was a church. Yes, do you remember it? And Derek Okora supposedly got possessed. When didn't he? God bless him. He went up top and he was possessed by this like Godfrey. I think it was Godfrey. He was like, Godfrey. It was literally like peak 2000s television. Like, God bless him. Rest in peace, my G.
We need to share. There's got to be like a most haunted top moments compilation that we need to share on the page.
It's that one. It's Mary Loves Dick. Mary Loves Dick will never not be the top one. The "You don't belong here" from the Pendle one. I think it's like, get out. Like, I just love him. He was totally a fake, but God, did he give us some television gold.
We've said it before. He changed the game.
He did change.
You know, rightly or wrongly, we're now all obsessed with it.
I love it. When I used to Twitch stream, my like if you used to give a donation onto my Twitch channel, Derek Okora would be on dancing. It'd just go, Mary Loves Dick, with Derek dancing on the middle of my screen. I love him so much. God bless him.
Oh.
But yeah, so Brannigan's nightclub. Like, I thought that was a really interesting, like, upstairs where you couldn't get into, still had the organ, and it was like a proper, and like the church tower.
I remember
above.
the stained glass window and stuff. Yeah.
And then downstairs was a nightclub, and like, is that really kicking it all off?
Is that the secret?
Yeah. And
ghosts just want to have a good time.
Well, I mean, I would. If I was dead, I think I'd probably go to like a music venue or somewhere and just watch free gigs for the rest of my life.
Applying a level of logic to the situation, if I was a trapped soul and my existence just consisted of every night, different people, can you push that please?
Off? Yeah.
Can you do it a bit louder? Throw that stone over. I don't know you.
I'm going to bed.
I've had enough of this. I've done this for the past, whereas like people just coming into my space playing a bit of like
a little bit. Have you seen that guy on TikTok who goes around like blasting Lady Gaga? Like, Spirit, do you like Lady Gaga? And it's just like blasting Lady Gaga around.
And they're like, thank God.
Yeah, I would love that. Like if I was dormant in like an old house because I'd like fallen over and broke my leg and like bled to death and died, and I was, oh great, I'm stuck here in this old abandoned like mine shaft now for the rest of my life.
And there's no expectation on you. They just come.
But then suddenly some guy rolls in and just put some Madonna on, like,
he doesn't want
like
anything
a prayer
from you.
On for me.
Just wants you to dance.
I'll be like, oh my God.
I'll be like, I'll knock a stereo over for you, mate.
Love this.
Love it.
But yeah, definitely. I would definitely be,
maybe
I'd
we
rather
need to change
vibe
up
with
how
that.
we do things.
Yes, maybe we need to. Well, do you know though? When I did Drakelow Tunnels years and years ago, we played Vera Lynn Will Meet Again in there because it was the right time frame for when there was like a cave in and some spirits died during that sort of era, and we figured out that song had come out by the time that these people had passed away, and it was like in the charts, whatever the charts were in the 30s, I don't know, and we blasted it out, and like stuff started happening around us. So I think like music and triggers like that and stuff, I think does help.
So when our generation's over on the other side, ghost hunters of the future are just going to have to play
like
turn down for what?
Yeah. Riverside, mother. That would get me. I'd be like, yes, turn it up. The Black Eyed Peas, Where Is the Love? I'm into it.
Oh, no.
No, I would. If I was dead and that was all that was going, I'd vibe.
Well, yeah.
I would vibe.
Yeah.
Great. What's wrong with us?
I don't know.
But yeah, I'm trying to think if there's any other... There's plenty of places that I've been that are like pubs or have been nightclubs. I remember when I was first starting out, I'd reached out. I didn't know how to get into the paranormal. And I was just like reaching out. I think I was 17, and I found a female paranormal investigation group that was kind of nearby, and within the UK you're not really insured on like insurance unless you're 18. So she was like, I can't bring you out with me, but what I'll do is I'll get you to do some research and start like understanding how we do our research on places, and then she came and got me and took me over to her house, and she introduced me to all the equipment and stuff, and she played me some footage of some stuff that she'd captured. And for the life of me, I don't know where this place was, but it was a nightclub, and she'd recorded, or she'd been given the recording from their like over camera bar that like shot all the way down the actual bar itself. And honestly, this thing, I've never seen anything like it since, and this was like one of my first ever real experiences of the paranormal. This thing, this massive shadow, you literally see it put its hands on the bar, lean over, and then just lean back and disappear. Like you literally see it's almost like a big hooded mass black mass, and you see its hands go down on the bar, you literally see it pop up and like lean over the bar, and then like just slowly and like lean back. And that was it. She was like, we've looked through the entire night.
Has she ever done any? Has she like submitted that anywhere?
No, I think I've probably still got her on Facebook somewhere or something. All of her children were all unwell. So I think she ended up just giving up paranormal, and she became a full-time carer for her children in the end, which is a real shame because she was a really good paranormal investigator. But I haven't heard her doing anything since then. I don't think the nightclub particularly wanted to out it. I don't think they wanted that kind of vibe for their club because they were operating as a full-time business, and I think they probably, I would imagine, would lose some staff over that probably wouldn't want to do the close up.
Fair.
I think if I was working there, I'm not sure if I would have been comfortable with that. So
Fair.
Yeah, she didn't end up. I don't think that ever went anywhere.
I wonder if she still has it.
Possibly. I'll see if I can email her maybe. I'm sure that business probably isn't operating anymore. I feel like it was in Wales. Something in my head tells me it was like somewhere like Cardiff or Swansea or something like that. But yeah, it was super, super interesting. I had no explanation for it. It was like in the middle of the night. They were closed. It was all on night vision. So who knows what happened there.
Crazy.
Yeah. We need to do a ghost hunt in a pub, is what we're saying.
Yeah, we need a small intimate pub
that's gonna close for us, or just leave us in there and leave and not do a lockdown with all of their patrons, because that's happened 3 times now where we've hired a place and they've left people, their regulars, in there and let them be in there, and they just ruin it. So pubs are a really difficult one to do because there is so much noise pollution, and they leave all of the machines running overnight, so the kegs, obviously the systems have to flush out,
banging.
I was in a theatre once and bloody ice machine, like, it ejects ice every now and then, and it just ejected all of the ice, and I saw Jesus for a moment in that second. So there's a lot of noise pollution as well that you have to consider, so it's quite hard to do in a controlled way. But if a pub is willing to let you go in and really deep dive, I'd be very interested. The one place that you can do that is the Ye Old King's Head in Chester, where obviously we've stayed for part of My Haunted Project, which I've got an episode coming about, so I'm not going to discuss that now. But you do get you do get full access throughout the night for the whole pub for that, so that's a really good one to kind of test some of your theories from a pub point of view.
So from a listener side of things, we would love to know if you've got any pub stories from anyone you know, or if you yourself have been to a pub and had a crazy experience. We would love to know, especially if it's somewhere we can go visit and maybe look into.
I'm down for a pint. I'm just down for going through like food.
And a gin.
Get the vibe. Sometimes it's nice to sit in a location and just like get the vibe. So even if it's somewhere nearby to the Midlands, if it's got good food, we'll go.
Good food is a bonus.
And then we can have a chat with the bar staff and be like, do you want to let us come back at like midnight? And
I'll meet you back here at 2.
Yeah, 2 a.m. Yeah,
after a gin.
Yeah. If you own a pub, even better, let us in. Yeah, please.
We'll be so respectful. So respectful.
Yes, but please let us in. We won't play Lady Gaga at level 100 in the pub basement. No, I promise.
Fair. Just in the car ride home.
Yeah.
But yes, thank you for listening to my regaling my stories with my strange
pub vibes.
Where I will always assure people that ghosts don't follow you home. But
I don't know if that was a case. Whether that was a case of something followed you, or whether that was just your like third eye kind of, that experience maybe just opened up your third eye for a moment.
I became psychic for
maybe
10 minutes.
Who knows? I don't know how it works. Who knows how it really works?
I don't know the rules.
No. I think everybody's born with like a little bit
a level
of
ability.
But it's how naturally on that spectrum of mediumship that you naturally are, because anyone, apparently, according to mediums, anybody can develop. Whether that was your awakening and you ignored it and you were like, nope, shut it down.
I think I have more to say on that, but that will be for another episode. So this doesn't end up being 2 hours. But
okay, all right, fair enough. We'll leave it there.
You can find us on all of the things. Sherry is much better at the LinkedIn bit. I've just hit the microphone. She has doing so well.
Oh, sorry, Producer Lewis. We have to get a sorry, Producer Lewis in every episode. As Gemma said, you can find us on our socials. I have started actually using our Facebook. Shocking, I know. We don't know where this is going to be posted yet. If this is usable in any way. Potentially it'll be on YouTube, potentially it'll be on Facebook. We'll see. We'll let you know in a couple of episodes' time properly where you can find these recorded visual versions. But for your normal podcasting needs, we're on Spotify, we're on Apple Music, Amazon, YouTube. I'm sure there's like another place that we're on as well, but we also post it on Facebook and TikTok is HGS Paranormal Podcast. Instagram, we are Hot Girl Stomps at Hot Girl Stomps, and to email us, it's hotgirlstomps@gmail.com. If you've had any spooky little pub stories, if you want us to talk about anything specific, if you want to invite us somewhere, please invite us somewhere. We would love that.
Just saying.
Please get in touch. Otherwise, just come and hang out. Come and chat to us.
Come and chat. And tell us we're wrong. Tell us we are full of rubbish. And your story sounds like absolute garbage.
Yeah.
Tell me.
We're fine with that. It's okay. And with that, we will see you physically, hopefully, next time.
See you on the next one.